Are you guys ready for this? There's a direct connection between the angle of light and the green ADP light. The angle of light is the messenger of light. The angel of light is Lucifer. Ooh, scary, 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 scary. And this is conveyed in symbols and encrypted code inside of us. And it is written in cosmic code. Once you are able to unlock this code, you will be able to read the intelligent messages to human beings. The splintered mind that this code gives you is like capturing the light and slowing it down. It helps you to see what is really happening and what really exists. The intelligence has the power to look beyond appearances. The intelligence I am speaking of gives a kind of knowing that is very different from emotional knowing or intuition. It requires you to let go of dualistic thinking so you can see more than one possible reality. It allows for understanding of how things are actually not separate, and therefore how changes in one part will affect other parts of your life as well as other lives. It can bring about a deep stillness, and it must be experienced to be understood. You cannot think your way into understanding this knowing. Trust me, I've tried. The ego is an illusion. It's like a shadow, a veil that covers the light. The light cannot be seen by the shadow. The ego is just one more way of saying me. But it is the fear-based thinking form from your limited point of view. Only those who have not the seal of God in their pineal gland will have the ego or the fear-based thinking that keep you from seeing the light. It is a lack of information that keeps humans from really understanding how to use their minds. It's not a lack of intelligence itself. Intelligence uses information to create models with which to understand things, and then sees beyond the models by using its power to look outside of itself. The splintered mind is when your mind has been fractured into pieces, and then you attempt to put it back together again. Your attempt to put them back together again means you are missing important pieces, because it isn't in its original form. So before one can actually put the pieces of the original egg of creation back together again, one must first put back together the original form of the egg. Then you can use your mind to see how things were meant to move around your life and understand how the intelligence creates order. The human form, when it was originally designed, allowed for the possibility that man could see into the future. The intelligence saw that without a perfect human form, humans would be fallen angels. And so it split the original humanoid figure into two parts. One part was given a name called Adam, and they became men, light. The other part of this figure is given the name called Eve, and she becomes a woman, dark. So then now you have what is called duality. What this means is that both a man and a woman become together one flesh. But man and women were meant to be one whole original being. The two were meant to be one whole original being. So the two would be able to move together in a system in which they were dependent on each other, so that they could see how their actions would affect the other person's life. It was like having an internal oracle or a spiritual guide as a part of your life. Instead of fighting with each other, you could communicate together with your dualistic mind. Instead of seeing each other as enemies, you could see each other as part of yourself. To not be able to see how the other person's life was part of your own was like being given an instruction manual on how to manage a motorcycle and trying to put it together, but missing the important information because a few pages were torn out. The other part of this being Adam, man, without Eve, woman, would be like having a manic cycle without the ability to have insight. It's like having a spontaneous mania instead of insight. If Adam, man, had not been able to have Eve, woman, he would continue to be his own individual. an independent being, and he would rebel against the other parts of himself because he is seeking to create a system in which he is separate. He wouldn't know how to move in creation with the other person, so it would be like trying to put together a motorcycle that didn't have the instruction manual. The me could not understand how his actions affected the other person's life. It would be like taking a broken egg and trying, by yourself, to put it back together again. Just like Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall, then he had a great fall, and all the king's horsemen and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. See how they said men, no women? This is key when you are using only half of the equation, which is the yin and the yang, because the other part, the woman, exists as the yin, and so when you only have half of it, you are missing essential parts to put that egg back together. So, when you think things through, if there is a need to create a system in which belief becomes independent of faith, because man needs his own independent ideas, beliefs, and thoughts without them being rooted in faith, to create a society that can survive without having faith in holy books or religion, it needs order based on reason instead of blind faith. Reasoning is based on logic, which cannot be turned on or off. It has no basis in faith. Instead, it is a tool of the ego. Humans are supposed to have faith that they do not need to see to believe. Religion or holy books are supposed to be necessary ingredients of a society, not controllers of society. This is why so many humans are confused and cannot see the big picture or the grand scheme of things, even though they have the ability to think about it. Those who can see are those who are able to use their pineal gland, because this is where you connect with a greater intelligence. If you do not use it, your reasoning mind will not be able to see beyond its own limited, biased viewpoint. So how do you use this oracle or this insight part of your brain? How do you activate it so you can receive the code encrypted in our messenger RNA? The original oracle depended on having faith. You must have faith in the original intent of God. This allows you to have insight into the future. Faith is not something that is intellectual and can be attained. It is ultimately a gift of God and is only received when man has seen the light, in which case he will know how to receive the gift. The cause of lack of faith comes from lack of understanding about life on earth, which leads to fear and doubt and what happens in the future. Fear and doubt about the future comes from lack of understanding about how life on earth works. This lack of understanding comes from the fact that humans never received the code from the originator, from the original intelligence, which allows them to know how to work together as one body in this world. When we speak of reason and logic, logic being a tool to think with, reason being the ability to rely upon your own ideas. But this is only true if you're using your pineal gland as instructed by God. Because if you're not using it, then it becomes a different thing entirely. It becomes a tool of the ego instead of something that helps you connect deeper with your soul and purpose in life. When the pineal gland is used as a tool for the ego, then you will use logic and reason to manipulate and control others. You will use logic as an instrument of manipulation and deception because it gives you the ability to manipulate without the other person questioning your motives. This is why society is so disconnected from one another. This is why we live in a world that's covered in greed, selfishness, anger, and fear. Because most of us are using our pineal gland as a tool for the ego instead of a way to receive information that we need to know about our purpose on Earth. Does the DNA in the plant interact with the DNA in our body? Like talk to each other? Do plants' DNA actually send the code through us, ingesting it and then communicating with us? Did the information come from hallucination, or does the information actually come from the plant? The pineal gland was indeed used as an oracle to communicate with our original intelligence by God, because the information came from the plant itself. It is not a hallucination of God, but communication with Him. The information came from the pineal gland and was communicated to the brain from there. The information is sent through the plant's DNA, in which it is received into the brain via the pineal gland. Because of God's grace and His granting of this gift to man, we are able to begin to feel this connection with Him. This connection allows us to begin our journey into understanding Him by seeing what He has said through us and through everything and every part of His creation that we are living inside of. This gland is the receiver, the processor that allows us to begin to receive this information. It is used by man to remove fear and doubt in our minds and our heart. When we connect with God through this pineal gland, when we are able to feel His presence, we know that He's living inside of each of us. The world is His creation. This enables us to begin our journey towards understanding Him by learning about how He created it for us through our awareness of seeing, telling ourselves what it means, in other words. So, if this is true, that would mean that anything and everything that we are experiencing, no matter what it is giving us information from the creation we're living in. And it too will send a code through us while we are learning from it. And it will give us what we are able to comprehend based on our faith and our beliefs. The more we have faith and the more regular communication we have with our Creator, the less and less the dangerous and poisonous things will actually have a negative effect on us. We will begin to see that the very process of our learning allows for us to connect with our Creator. And we are able to feel what He is communicating through us. And through everything we are seeing on a daily basis, our faith and our understanding will increase. Our faith and our understanding will increase. Our faith and our understanding will increase. We will be able to see how He has come from out of nothingness. How He has created everything with His own two hands and His own words, which includes all of humanity.